Okay, I had some people asking me about what do men want in a wife, and I also saw some videos on the internet that had very different opinions from what I might think. So I'll just share a few thoughts about what men were thinking when they want a wife. Okay, when I was younger, it was clear. I wanted a woman to have a big family with. So I wanted a woman who wanted to have a bunch of kids and live happily ever after with a big family, and my ex-wife was smart enough to trick me into believing that that's what she wanted too. And so she lucked out. She got the magic ring. And they say when the wedding ceremony, Herbert Spencer says the woman gets a ring on her finger, the man gets one on his nose. So the marriage gives the woman way more power than she deserves because, he tends to want to make the two-back piece more than she does. Plus, if there's a divorce, she tends to come out of that at an advantage. So, the man chooses her because he's attracted to her, wants her to be the mother of his kids. She chooses him because he's competent to provide for her, take care of her. So he tends to be smarter and have his act together more than she does. So in a sense, by giving her the power, you put in marriage, you put the stupid person in charge of the smart person typically. So that's not good. In my experience, women tend to very much overrate themselves. They live very sheltered because people tend to be nice to women. They can't handle criticism as well as a man, so people tend to be very gentle with them. If a guy fucks up, they go, "You suck. What the fuck are you doing?" Okay? He gets yelled at. So a man has to have his act together because he's going to get yelled at and it's not going to be nice. Whereas a woman, she stinks. And you're like, "Oh, try a little harder," So she's so used to being treated gently that a lot of women don't realize how stupid and incompetent they are. So they overrate themselves in many ways. Plus, a woman's peak sexual market value is about 20 years of age, then just goes down after that. Whereas a man, his peak sexual market value keeps going up to about 42 years of age. So the man in general, in terms of his sexual attractiveness, tends to age way better than the woman. So if a woman wants to find a husband, she should try to find a husband when she's young. The sooner the better, really, because her value is only going down in the sexual marketplace. Whereas a guy's, his is going to go up for a long time. He's going to become more sophisticated, more worldly, have more economic skills, just be more skillful, competent guy. I can tell you a typical story. A friend of mine got divorced when he's 38. His wife cheated on him as a male doctor guy. And he said, there are all these women just throwing themselves at him. He said he had sex with 8 different women in 1 year. And then he said, oh my gosh, I'm going to get venereal disease if I keep doing this. I'm just going to pick the next one and marry her. And that's what he did. Okay, let's see what else. I said, for the average 50-year-old man, his SMV is usually way higher than a 50-year-old woman. So there's tons of divorced single moms out there, many of them quite pretty, and the guy can just take his pick. First of all, women, they totally overrate themselves. Just turn on YouTube and start watching these videos. You'll see that, first of all, women are physically weak. They're like the strength of a 6th grade boy. They can't do anything physically that a 6th grade boy, you can get a 7th grade boy and he could do more work than a woman, okay? They just don't have physical strength. And when they're on their period, 1 week out of a month, they don't have energy either. So they're weak without energy. They can't do much physically. Which means like they can't do stuff if you've got like a project you need to do, move furniture and things like that. Women are not that funny. Once in a while there's a few exceptions here and there, but in general they're not that funny. Like you're hanging around with your guy friends, you can tell jokes, you can laugh, you can have a lot of fun. Well, the woman, they get upset, they take everything personal, and they don't have anything to say. They can judge when a man is funny because they're good at judging a man. A man being funny is a sign that he's intelligent. So it's it's an indicator of value in the man, that he's probably going to be more likely, if he's smart, to be able to figure out how to make some money. So that's why women like it when a guy is funny. But women themselves, they're hardly ever funny. They find one decent comedian like Leonardo Joni and everyone's like, she's a bitch, she's a bitch. Anytime a woman's good at anything, they call her a bitch. Anytime a woman's really smart, Ann Coulter, Ayn Rand, okay, she's a bitch, she's a bitch. Yeah, and the other thing too, women always sabotage each other. If a woman's good at something, the other women try to knock her down and criticize her. Whereas men, they're a lot more reasonable about, they admire another guy who's good at something. Women tend to be very conformist. I think that's partly why they get an artificial, inflated sense of their intelligence. The grade school system, high school system, college system rewards memorization and conformity. Do what the teacher says. And, they got a good memory. They got a memory like an elephant. The woman can remember, stuff pretty well. So by just regurgitation of stuff they memorize, they can do pretty well in school. So I think that gives them the illusion that they're a lot smarter than they are. And I've known 3 women, direct personal, with a lot of experience with them, who were second in their medical school class. And I can tell you, I never once heard any of them do anything original. Nothing. Okay? They had no ambition other than to be competent and successful in their field, but they had no desire to make a discovery, to be great, to advance the field. No, they wanted to, be competent, make money, live in a nice house in a nice neighborhood, okay? Whereas men tend to be much more bold and going forward. Like when I was in residency, I'd get in trouble for all kinds of stupid things because I was always pushing it. I traded all my time at the poor hospital. I traded all my time at the rich hospital. I hated the rich hospital because they wouldn't let you do anything. You couldn't touch the patient or do anything interesting. I'd go to the poor hospital and I could do unassisted cerebral arteriograms, when I was a second-year resident, okay? You could never do that as a fourth-year resident at the rich hospital. So what I'm saying is I was constantly breaking the rules and trying to make something happen so I could get faster learning, faster training, faster experience. I was always trying to break through some border or do something new or innovate. I never got any of that out of them, okay? What I'm trying to say is women tend to be real conformists. The other thing, too, is I always wanted to speak. I always felt like I'm the fucking smartest guy. Let me speak. And so I wanted to give a presentation. I wanted my presentation to be the best. On the other hand, this is the girl who was second in her medical class. She was so nervous about giving a presentation, she had to take beta blockers. And some of her other girlfriends, they all would take beta blockers before they would present, just before the resident, just before our own freaking residents. I had the exact opposite opinion. I was like, why the hell? I stayed at Northwestern for residency because my mother was dying of cancer. I wanted to help out with her. I was very close with my mother. And I was real pissed off that I had done that. I should have gone to Harvard. So I kind of had an attitude. I'm giving a freaking resident presentation at Northwestern. This is bullshit. I should be at Harvard. So I had this attitude. This is beneath me, okay? Whereas they're like, oh my God, I got to take a beta blocker just to talk to my co-residents. What I'm trying to say, do you get the point? There's a totally different attitude. And my wife yelled at me one time when I was giving a presentation. I was preparing for some presentation, and I was putting a lot of time in it. She's like, why do you put so much time into your stupid presentation? No one cares about your stupid presentation. You're such a typical man, always trying to show off and be a big shot. A woman doesn't care. A woman doesn't care about showing off. She just wants to survive. And I think that's, and she also said, medicine is just like selling hot dogs. You sell more hot dogs, you make more money, okay? This is bullshit trying to show off. And I think what she meant was a woman, she can attract a man just by being pretty. She doesn't even have to say a word. Just by being pretty, a guy will walk up to her and say, would you like to go dance or would you like to go for a date? Whereas a man, he has to establish himself in some way, Some men are super good looking, but they're very, very rare. Some guys 6 feet something, good looking guy, but that's a rare item. Most men, what makes them attractive to women is that they are successful in some way, successful in their job or their competence or whatever, making money or whatever, something like that. And a little bit of the other stuff, they're physically fit, they're okay looking or something. But we don't attract so much by our physical looks as we do by our achievements and our social status and things like that. Whereas a woman attracts much more by her looks. So she's not motivated. She doesn't have to do anything. A woman could be as stupid as a chimpanzee, but if she's cute, she'll attract a husband like that. And you could have another woman who's brilliant, but she's very, very, very unattractive, and she might have a heck of a hard time getting a husband no matter how competent or skilled or whatever else she has going for her. Okay, let's see. Yeah, out of all the girlfriends I've had, and I've had a few, and my ex-wife, none of them ever really had much to say except the classical music piano player. She knew classical music better than me, so I liked talking to her about classical music. I had one girlfriend who was, a junior person in radiology, and she really wanted to learn radiology, so at least I could teach her radiology. She really wanted to hear it, but most of the time, there's really not that much to say to a girlfriend. You can enjoy a movie together or something, but they usually don't have much to say. I did like the fact that my current girlfriend, she read all my books and watched my videos so she could give me feedback. She would say, oh, you should do this, you shouldn't do this. And she told me things like, you should write short books. Nobody wants to read your long books. Nobody except a nerd like you. You should write short books. Patients only want to read about their disease. They don't want to read about all of internal medicine. And she was correct about that. So that was good advice. We most value a woman's opinion on social stuff, because women tend to be very socially perceptive, better than men a lot of times, and about certain different things. They certainly see things different than a guy does. After I got divorced, my nurse friends, I got friends that are nurses and techs, and they would say things to me like, you are never going to find a woman who you can talk to about science stuff or this cultural, artistic literature stuff. Women don't care about that. Nobody's going to speak to you about that. And they said the only reason women would go out with you is because you're a doctor and they want you to support them. I thought that was funny, but that's what they said. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay, the biggest benefit of a woman from a man's point of view is that you can make a baby. Okay, we can't make babies, and we can't buy them at the pet shop. If they figure out how to like clone babies or organize a surrogate baby market, and we could just buy the babies like at the pet shop or something, I think most men nowadays, guys I know, literally they would just go to the pet shop. They would not want a woman in their life. Too much freaking trouble. Too many guys have been burned by divorce, and they're like, I'm not going through that again. No freaking way. So I think a lot of women are going to end up single. Men just don't want them. They just say they're not worth it. Because women's very expensive. Because, like, you talk to any woman, they always say Nawalt, Nawalt. Not all women are like that. They're going to go, not all women are like that. Okay, I'm going to tell you this. All women are really expensive. They're financially very expensive. And they go, oh, I'm not like that. Women are not like that. Bullshit, okay? My ex-wife cost me many millions of dollars, all right? My current girlfriend cost me tons of money, okay? You can say, oh, well, I'm just a beta male, beta bucks, alpha, you know what, CKS. Okay, so, but what I'm trying to say is that's just the nature of it, all right? If you're, it's just how it is. Let's see. I guess I could have, gotten an older woman or something who would support me, and then I could just write books all the time. That would have maybe not been so bad. But the other thing too is like a lot of women, like some women contacted me from long distance places, and what they don't understand is male-female relationships, maybe when you're 18 years old or about romance. When you're older, they're much more logistical. Okay, what I mean by that is, look, I need you to cook for me. How the hell are you going to cook for me if you live in another goddamn country, okay? You need to get your ass in the kitchen and cook for me, okay? I don't want to cook, okay? And then the other thing, too, is, yeah, I expect you to cook for me. I expect you to do my laundry. I expect you to clean my apartment. And you shouldn't bitch about it. I slave away all day in an office to, be able to provide for you so you have a decent place to live and sleep, okay? So you can take care of the kitchen. If you don't want to do that, then don't be with me, go away. There's plenty of other women. I could get a line out the door to the end of the block that would love to, run the kitchen and cook for a man, okay? Men, we don't really need to spend much money. Like in 28 years of marriage to my ex-wife, I was only on a plane once. My ex could go on 7 plane flight vacations in a year. I only spent dollars on books. I like to buy books. I like to, I need gas for the car and I need to buy some food. That's it. I don't need to spend money on anything. Whereas a woman's always like, oh, we need furniture. I have to redo this room. I need to go on this vacation, Like if I do CME, I'll just go through a test on some website, okay? Whereas a woman, she'll go, oh, I got to go to Florida, a course in Florida, okay? Let's see what else. Also, a woman should not be wearing all these smelly perfumes and deodorant. You freaking stink. We like the way you smell just because you're a woman, because you're a female. Okay, that's good enough. You're estrogen. That's good enough smell. I don't want to smell your damn perfume or hair conditioner and all this other crap. It's annoying. We do expect you to make the 2-bag beast with us. That's how you reward us for working for you all day. And if you don't want to do that, then goodbye. We don't want you. Okay? We don't want you to be promiscuous. A promiscuous woman is of zero value to a man. If a woman is promiscuous, that means she's high risk for divorce. She's high risk to, have a kid from another father that she pretends is yours, so you're going to get cuckolded. She's high risk to have herpes, hepatitis, HIV, gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis. And because I watch some of these, internet shows, I just go back and forth, and you'll see them, and you see all these women, and they're dressed sleazy, they got tattoos, they got facial piercing and other weird piercings and stuff. And I'm like, these women are hopeless. I mean, I look at them, I want to vomit. I would never, ever, ever want to date them or speak to them. Nothing, zero interest, and they wonder why they can't get a man. I'm like, they can't even hold my attention for 5 minutes. I mean, if you dress like that and look like that, why would we ever want anything to do with you? We would want nothing to do with you. Zero. A man with a brain, he'd run in the opposite direction when he sees a woman. You look like a freaking prostitute, okay? To me, that means herpes, hepatitis, HIV, gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis, and other social problems, intellectual problems, a low IQ, and other bullshit, okay? Probably dishonest on top of it. We wouldn't want it, okay? The other thing is a lot of women are liars. I've had plenty of ex-girlfriends and my ex-wife lie to me. A good man seldom lies. It takes too much energy. My dad never lied once in my whole life. You know, sometimes he'd make mistakes, but he never intentionally lied. So men don't like lying. If you lie to us, a decent man, that's an indication that he should break up with you. I don't care what it's about. If you lie to him, he should break up with you. If he's got a brain, break up with her the sooner the better, because it's only going to get worse. So that's a major, major red flag. Let's see, what else? Don't be fat. Because a lot of really nice women, really nice personalities, they're good people, but they're fat. But we're just not sexually attracted to them. Because in the wild, you know, our ancestors, a woman being fat, it only meant she's postmenopausal, or it meant that she was pregnant. So we don't want her to be pregnant from some other guy. We're not attracted to that. So it's dangerous to approach a woman. So we wouldn't approach her unless we had a chance to make a baby with her. So if a woman wants to optimize her body weight, it's so easy. Just eat low-fat vegan diet. Everybody who eats low-fat vegan with no oil is skinny. Just do it. Don't sit there and have a hissy fit. Just do it and you will be skinny. I guarantee you'll be skinny. Anyways, that's the perspective. So we don't really want much from you. We want you to cook for us, do our laundry, clean our apartment, make the two-back beast with us at night. Don't lie to us. And if you do that, we'll take care of you. It's a great damn deal. And if you don't want it, then goodbye.